Hi, we're Richard and Jackie from Early Retirement Wanderlust.
So we've moved on from Lake Bled and hopefully we've got 6 days exploring the mountains and rivers of the absolutely beautiful Triglav National Park in Slovenia.
In our last video, we were down at Lake Bled and we had the most horrific weather forecast for the next week. So we have decided to hunker down and we've spent the last 3 days at Camping Spic in the Triglav National Park. And for the last 48 hours, it has rained solidly, but luckily the weather seems to have broke.
So hopefully we've got another couple of days exploring the ski resort of Kranjska Gora. There's a really nice lake that we can go up to. There is lots of cycling. Rich is hoping that he can cycle up the Vrsic Pass, which is not on my agenda whatsoever. It's got something like 22 hairpin bends on it. And then hopefully we'll go over the Vrsic Pass in the van and explore around the River Soco, which has the most beautiful crystal clear blue waters, and there's lots of river activities and hiking up there as well.
But before we do that, see how we've got on in the last 48 hours hunkered down in the van. About halfway up and I'm feeling pretty goosed. I think I'm just over 4k up the climb and there's loads of switchbacks to go, but the key is to just take it steady. This is the Russian chapel and it's a memorial to all the Russian prisoners of war that made the Vrsic Pass, and unbelievable place. Climbed all the way up here thinking the road was at the far side. There is no exit, so I've crossed country for no reason. I've got to go back 150 metres downhill to get to the road, which is soul destroying. Well, that was really hard. Harder than I thought, but it is for the fun bit now. 18k back to the campsite, all downhill. I'm looking forward to not making a pedal stroke at all, but we'll see how we go.
So as you can see from my little adventure up the Vrsic Pass, the weather, you can't be guaranteed that it's going to be with you all the time. And I set off with all the best intentions and absolutely got caught out. So much so that the camera stopped working on the descent because it was that cold and wet. I was absolutely frozen through when I got back to the van. But you have to make the best of the opportunities that you had. And I absolutely loved that cycle ride, and it will stay with me forever.
And at this point in our adventure, we'd had 48 hours of solid rain. And we do get asked by people how we actually cope with that in such a tiny van, because it's not easy. We could have made a decision to try and move away to where there's better weather, but we wanted to stay in Slovenia. So we did just hunker down for 48 hours. And actually, we see part of that as a positive. It gives us time to get things that we want done. I sat and did my blog. So I had 48 hours of typing, which was great because I caught up. Richard was able to catch up with lots of your editing, weren't you?
I think for us with the poor weather, it's a real mindset thing when you're in a camper van, because there was absolutely no outrunning that storm. So we chose a campsite, we decided to hunker down, and we just made it as cosy as possible. So we'd made sure that we'd stocked up on all the comfort foods. We made sure that we'd got everything we needed in terms of reading books and things to keep us entertained. And we just had a really quite nice time slowing down. I think at the end of 48 hours, we'd probably had enough of that, but it was just a really good opportunity to slow down.
And we did make sure we were on a campsite that had a little cafe and bar so that we could actually escape from the van occasionally and just go and have a drink, and it had facilities. An advantage of the campsite that we stayed on is that their tumble dryer was free, which you don't see very often. So 48 hours of rain in a camper van, everything was quite damp, and we did manage to get that dried before we set off again.
So going more philosophically, my morning meditations keep telling me that life is impermanent and things always change. And after a period of bad weather, you can pretty much guarantee that it is going to change and you are going to get good weather. So we have had good weather thereafter. So have a look at what we got up to.
So yesterday we woke up and the weather had changed and it was a really beautiful sunny morning, and we decided that we would do a waterfall walk that we could actually take right from the van at the campsite. And wow, it was just stunning. The colour of the water, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before.
and it was just absolute isolation. At times it felt like we were in the middle of nowhere. We didn't see hardly anyone all day, and it was a fair old hike up to that top waterfall. And as stunning as it was absolutely freezing from the water spray. So yeah, we had a great explorer there. It was a brilliant day out.
It was. There are 3 different waterfalls. The first one's actually within about 1 kilometre of the campsite. So if you're ever in the Triglav National Park, it's a really nice place to go. The third one, it was a 10k walk altogether, and it was actually really tough to get to the top. There was wire steel ropes and pegs for your feet so that you could actually get to that top waterfall, but it was definitely worth it.
And then we made the decision, because the weather had improved, to move on, and we moved up into town and used the Aire at Kranjska Gora, which was actually probably one of the best moves we've made.
Yeah, the campsite is beautiful, but it is, with all the taxes and things, about €35 a night, whereas the Aire was only €18, and it's right in the centre of town. We had such a surreal evening. There was a Slovenian evening in one of the local restaurants, and we called in and had a beer and joined in some of the fun there. It was really good fun.
And the Aire is just based at the bottom of the ski slopes, and a cheeky little bonus for us, 50, 100 metres up the road, there was some absolutely pristine public toilets. So it pretty much had everything for us for €18 a night. So much so that with the weather as it is at the moment, we're contemplating actually going back there tonight.
We were going to go up to the Vrsic Pass, which has got 22 hairpin bends, and we were going to drop down into Bovec for 3 nights. But I think we might stay here for 1 more night, because we've just come to this lake, which is stunning. And we think because the weather forecast is good, we might just stay here for the day, do a bit of a hike from here, and just sunbathe and have a bit of a beach day.
Yeah, we're just going to kick back, gentle Saturday, and see how it goes.
Even though he got me up, and it's only 8:30 now, so that we could be up and off early to get up that pass.
But what it did mean was that we were at the head of the bakery queue, so that's all good and well.
So it's a Sunday morning and it's 8:30. Jackie's currently in the bakery and we are going to finally do the Vrsic Pass in Nelson, and he is going to love it.
have seen it's quite an adventurous drive over the Vrsic Pass, and the irony was not lost on me that actually we thought the weather was going to be really good on the way over, and it was worse than when I cycled it, because when we got to the top we couldn't see a blooming thing, and that made the descent, which I thought was just more hair-raising than going up on the ascent, it made it a little bit more sketchy. But we made it down, and the benefit of making it down is we dropped into the Soco Valley.
I'm going to put my cards on the table. I actually think the Soco River Valley is probably the most beautiful river valley in the whole world. The water just is this deep blue, and everywhere you look, just through the forests, or if you just catch a glimpse of it, it is stunning. We stayed on a couple of campsites, so we had 2 nights in the Soco River Valley. The campsites are quite basic. We've stayed in the Soco Valley before, and we found that on our previous stay as well. The pitch sizes are small, the facilities are adequate. It has a really nice vibe to it. It's full of just outdoor adventure-y people, and there's just a really funky feel to it. We loved that area.
It's very laid back, and there's not many places in the world where you can go round every corner and just have a moment of awe and wonder, because we at times were literally quite speechless, and it just takes your breath away because you're not sure what you're going to face. The river at points can be absolutely raging and powerful, and then it can thin out and just go to a beautiful, calm, serene place. But I think we're both in agreement that it is possibly one of the best rivers in the world.
So we did a couple of hikes while we were there. We did a hike up to the Soco Waterfalls. There's 2 hikes you could do. So you could have gone to the first level, which was easier, and you got a really pretty view. But you know, we're adventurous. We decided we'd go right up to the top. We did get a fantastic view, but oh my God, I was so tired by the time we got up there, and it was so hot. And then we did a bit of a World War I history tour.
Yeah, the Triglav National Park has a rich history which is predominantly based around the First World War. So quite high up on the mountains, and based on the riverbanks are a whole host of World War I fortifications, and they are really well signposted. So there is so much exploring to do in the area, and we have spent many an hour just following the brown signposted trails to all of these historic sites, and they are literally everywhere.
I think you'll probably realise from our last 2 videos that we absolutely love Slovenia. It is such a beautiful country. It has a bit of everything for us with the mountains and the history, and it's somewhere that we will keep returning to.
But one of our main priorities for the trip was to get to the Italian Dolomites, and they are just a few mountain passes away. So in our next video, we are going to take you over the border and into the Dolomites. We are so excited because we have waited years to get to the Dolomites, and we just can't wait to get going. So that's it from us. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.